ready now to actually upload the file. And so you can do the old, you can either, again, you can do choose the file and go through your menus and find it. Or if you, particularly if you have like two screens, it's easy to just drag and drop. A lot of times now in your folder on your computer, you actually have two files now. You'll have one that is, matter of fact, maybe I should actually show that. So you come over here, you'll see under type, you'll see that I have two. They're called fake data 1A, but one is a regular Microsoft worksheet, and the other is the CSV file, comma separated values file. And that's the one that you want to make sure that you choose. So let me go back to screen here. And so we're going to take the CSV file, and you'll see it's up, it's here, and you're just going to hit submit CSV. Oh, now there is another bug that occurs, and I do not understand. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm going to go back to this file here. And if I open this up, and that's probably the best way to, is if I open this up as I believe it's a rich text format. No. Notepad, that's what I use. For some reason, sometimes with these files, hopefully you can see that. I'm not sure. Actually, here,
yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, okay. So you'll see that there's all these weird like blank rows, and I still don't understand why it does this. This was never a problem in, or maybe the old version of Datashed somehow recognized this during import and just ignored it. And that might be something I have to work with the programmers on. But it does occur, and it's super annoying. So what I've had to do, when that happens, is that I've had to come in here and what I'll do is I'll actually come in here and I'll just delete a bunch of these rows. And I'll also delete some of these columns. And it really, this shouldn't, I'm not, like I said, it's a weird bug, and it's something that I just noticed the other day. I wasn't having problems before. And then I'll save it again. Okay. And so we'll go back to screen. Okay. Now, oops, make sure I use the right one. Okay, so this is what you should see. And so if you run into that problem where it says it's been uploaded, but the mapping does not come up, that is most likely the problem that has occurred. And you just simply go back. It's annoying, I agree. And maybe we'll be able to figure out a better way of solving that issue. But you just go back and you just delete a few of the blank rows and a few of the blank columns, and then it seems to work. Now, if you remember, if you're an old Datashed user, you may remember a whole other different complex mapping system of having to, highlight rows and all that sort of stuff. None of that is actually necessary now. And in Datashed, we're trying to build into it as much as possible for it to think through itself and to figure things out for itself. And so you'll see that up above that it had the sample, that it's already kind of figured out that this is the sample point. So this is the sample point ID. And it has automatically started to try and figure out what the sample points are. And if they match, if your sample points in your spreadsheet, and that was one thing actually I forgot to mention, that the sample points that you put in your spreadsheet should match the sample points that you've named in Datashed. And so if it has matched it up, over here you'll see them in green, but here it's telling me that it needs to be selected. And also in this pink box up here, you'll see that there's like a warning message, and it says select sample points. A sample point must be assigned to each row of data, and so it did not do that. And a lot of times, and in this case, it's just because it's not always this sensitive, but they don't match only because this is all capitals and this is not. So I can go through here and then just add it. So you want to make your spreadsheet, the sample points that are in your spreadsheet, match as ideally exactly as possible. However, if you don't, you can't come here and select it. In the old version of Datashed, you would not have that opportunity. You would actually have to exit back out, fix your spreadsheet, and then come back in and upload it. So this is a little bit of a time saver, and that you can actually have the option of fixing things. That's actually true for a number of these things that you'll see. You also see there's also a legal value here related to the date. And this is a little bit of an annoying feature, and that it requires the date is set up so that you have the month and the year and stuff. But normally, if you come in here and you can fix this. And again, I would recommend as much as possible, learning your rules and having your data set up to go in the first place. And actually, I think it'll actually allow you. I think it's actually the year that's really the holdup. I don't think it'll actually make you fix the month and date to be in that MMDD format. You'll see that the sample date has already, that Datashed had already selected sample date. And just to kind of go through here, you'll see that this top row up here, these are the names that were on the spreadsheet that I had uploaded. This middle row is an indication for you to select whether it's a lab parameter or a field parameter. And then this bottom row is the Datashed field name. And so you want to make sure that the name, the Datashed that you're going to import it in is the correct field. And Datashed does try to guess and figure this out. And it's kind of strange, like the way some of them it figures out very easily, and you're kind of almost surprised it figures it out. And other times you're like, why didn't it figure that out? But it is pretty good. And there are some things I think that we can adjust and put in like little hints in there in the back end to maybe make it a little bit better. So for example, here in mine, I just had it taken. Well, that taken's not a very good description. And but for me, that was sampler. And so this is, and for me, I think of this as being a field thing. And so we'll go down through, and you go down through this list of the parameters. So these are the field names in Datashed. In the old version, we were able to separate some of the more metadata type fields from the water quality fields. And I'm hoping that we can kind of redo that again, because it makes it a little bit easier to find certain things. But it is basically in alphabetical order. So in Datashed, the sampler, it's sampler person. So flow, so the next one was flow method. Again, I think of this as a field parameter. It's something you do in the field. Now, Datashed did guess this not to be flow method, but flow, actual flow. And so we don't want to change. We want to make sure we change that because it's not correct. And in Datashed, it's not flow method. It's method of flow. And then the next parameter is in my spreadsheet was flow. Again, I see that as being it's measured in the field, and Datashed had already guessed that, so we have that already, and we don't have to change that. So next is field pH, and Datashed has been able to guess that and said that okay, they marked that as field and pH, so they figured that one out. And the next is lab pH. And Datashed guessed that as well, lab pH. Whoops. You can use this space bar, or you can actually use your arrows. And if you have a lot of data, if you have a lot of data, it will actually push this bar down, the scrolling bar, so you can't really see it. And so then using your arrows makes that a lot easier to adjust. But with such little data, you can do either way easily. So the next one I have is conductivity. In this instance, this was not a field measurement. This was the measurement that the lab measured. And Datashed was not able to determine that. And partly that's because in Datashed, we actually have that as a specific conductance. But that is a lab measurement. Temperature, it has, Datashed has correctly guessed its field temperature, but did not identify here as being field, which I think is a little odd that it doesn't do that. Then the next is field alkalinity, so that's field, and Datashed did say that was alkalinity. And the next one I know is the lab alkalinity, and so it did guess that. Then we have acidity, so that's a lab measurement. Datashed guessed that. Then there's iron, and it is lab measurement. And this is total iron, which Datashed did guess. There is a separate iron if it was dissolved. So there is iron, there's dissolved, there's iron. And the way Datashed has this is organized is actually the parameter first, or the metal first. So it's iron and then parentheses dissolved, or iron parentheses total. And so, whoops. So that's iron total. Manganese, it guessed it correctly. Aluminum, it does not. I'm not sure why it never does guess aluminum right. And so that's lab. And so we'll do aluminum total. Sulfate, it's lab, sulfate, I guess. And so look how weird it is. Like, it actually knows that SO4 is sulfate. I think this is something in the some of the background information that we had put in the original version of Datashed and that carried over well, or that the programming people carried over well. And some of these maybe we have to go into adjust. And then the last parameter here that I had on my sheet was total suspended solids, which again, it guessed correctly. So once you've gone through that, you've mapped everything out, and you come over here to your CSV, submit CSV, and you hit the button.